Uh, so get cracking.
Get cracking.
Yeah, I mean, I
Yeah.
think Shaman also does pretty fine against Miracle. That's what I've heard at least. And also, it's been like one of my tougher matchups. But I think it might just be like in the mulligan decisions because like if you know how to mulligan correctly, it's what I found that most of the matchups that were considered bad for Miracle before, like they actually turned up good.
Give us
But
give us an example.
um, well, the first one is obviously Warrior. Like before like the most recent changes where they added like an Azure Drake and like a Loot Hoarder.
Right.
It's like everyone was like, yeah, Warrior crushes Miracle Rogue. Like you can look back to Fight Night and see me versus Forza and stuff like that. It's like even he says it's a bad matchup. But then suddenly it changed with very, very, very limited changes to the deck that I don't believe affected it too greatly. In that matchup.
Mm-hmm. And it was purely mulliganing, or
I can only assume that because for some reason they're crushing everyone now.
right, right. Huh, okay,
But
interesting.
a better example is like the Ramp Druid versus Miracle Rogue, where like if you keep Auctioneer and stuff like that, then you can't really lose. Like, because that's what has happened a lot. Like people start keeping like SI7 Agent and Backstab, and you're like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, these cards are great, and then they just run out of steam versus Druid, and Druid's like, all right, I do nothing for 4 turns, and then play a big taunt, and you're like, okay, let me use 3 cards to remove it now because I've saved Backstab and SI7 Agent, which are like, in a box they're good, but in this matchup they're really not that strong. Like they like Druid plays Harvest. Like, if it's even mid range, like the Druid can
Right.
just
There's
like
no small
smoke
minions at
and you're
all.
screwed. Yeah,
Right.
it's like
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
mulligans like
Makes sense.
that. And also like another example of the mulliganing that like changes the matchups is like aggro Hunter versus aggro Warlock, where aggro Warlock was really favored until Hunters learned just a full mulligan for explosive trap and unleash the hounds. And when they started doing that, the matchup started being like way in the Hunter's favor.
Mm-hmm.
But before that, it was like vastly in the Warlock favor. It's like 65% or something, or 60, yeah, it's about 65%.
Okay. Are there any, like, if you were to rank the, I guess, the strongest matchups, the top three matchups with this deck, and then the worst three, what would they be?
The best matchups are Ramp Druid. Like you just crush Ramp Druid. They
Wow.
do nothing
Okay.
for like 4 turns, and then like you play Azure Drake or something, and they have to answer it. They play a 4/6 taunt, then you just trade into it for free. And then like the next turn they'll play like a whatever Karen, doesn't matter. And then you just kill that. Then you door howl and kill 7 creatures with it because they haven't put any pressure on you at all, so your life total is meaningless.
Mm-hmm.
And you just go ham with the axe. And they don't play any way to kill weapons. Like I really think they should add Harrison Jones or something. Like
Yeah.
at OGN, that was one of the things that I told Savitz to add to his Ramp Druid list because I knew that the warrior list that I'd given Artosis was really favorable against Ramp Druid. So uh, he added the second big game hunter and then the Harrison Jones. So it's kind of like my idea. And a lot of people thought it was for
You're just
Hamlock.
setting Nartosis up, man. You're giving Nartosis this deck, and then
No,
you
no,
give
no. I
Saviv
was
the answer to the deck.
no. I was helping Artosis. Obviously, I'm not going to help him in the match against my teammate, but I was helping him in the
Of
match
course.
before the court semifinals, I guess, versus
Uh-huh. Oh, okay. Yeah,
Gerard.
yeah. For
Or,
Gerard. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Gerard.
But yeah, like
Okay.
all Savitz and Artosis were both playing my warrior deck, but like they never got to show it because they were so dominant in the tournament. And then Artosis finally audibled to aggro warrior because he was kind of I mean, he knew Savitz was a better player. He even said it himself, and he just kind of like wanted to just throw some aggression at him. And also, it's like he said this on his play style, so he was hoping that Savitz wouldn't expect it, but we expected aggro lock and aggro like
Hmm.
a whole bunch. We expected 3 aggro decks,
Right.
so it's like not bad. Like, well, 2 aggro decks and a controller. So.
Okay. Two other decks that's good against. Like super good against. Crazy good
Um,
against.
Crazy good against
Yeah.
the mirror match. I don't know if
The
that
mirror
counts.
matchup. Yeah. Okay. Cool.
But also aggro hunter. It's like really good against that. But it's pretty
Okay.
much a hard counter.
And then you already mentioned the miracle
Oh, shaman!
matchup, and
It's really good. Like it crushes shaman, man. Like if people
oh,
start playing shaman again, just start play the warrior list.
okay. Trump
And I okay.
seems to have a comment on the shaman.
Really? I thought Shaman was traditionally good against this warrior deck.
A lot of people always believe that until I kind of started showing people how to beat shaman. Like once I added brawl and Baron it just completely flipped the matchup on its head. Like you just have too many ways to full clear their board, and they have no way to really pressure you at all, right? Because you're just arming up every single turn. It's like totem, 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 and you just don't do anything to the totems, and they're like, all right, flame tongue totem, and you're like, kill the flame tongue totem. And they're like, fire elemental, and you're like, kill the fire elemental. You have like 5 threads, and then your axe like always 1-for-1s the wolves. So it's like the board never really gets out of hand. And if you combine, like, you save 1 whirlwind for Barongeddon, and then it's like a turn. It's a post turn 8 play, and you whirlwind and then Barongeddon and clear the whole board. Or you can, like, on turn 10 you can whirlwind slam Barongeddon, and like you can even kill fire elemental like that. So it's like you have so many ways to just completely flip like bad or terrible board states on top of, like, on its head, and it gives you all the advantage back. And also, you just have really strong card draw. Like, the Azure Drakes are so incredible versus Shaman, because like one of the things that kind of led me to adding Azure Drake was I always played against these like mid-range tempo rogues and shamans and stuff like that. Whenever they Azure Drake and I kill it, I'm just like, crap! I just literally lost a card, and they drew a card. This is like the worst case scenario for me. Like, their card replaced itself, so it's like it was so frustrating that I was like, I'm just going to do that to these guys. But the Korkron's lead are also really strong because they just like run into the wolves and they're just left over.
Right. Okay. Yeah. I guess, Trump, you had a different experience with it because you played a lot of Shaman, right, last season, or you had.
No, I mean, it's also true that this mentality carries over from the previous Warrior deck, the one that wasn't running the Korkrons, and I guess the Korkrons had a significant effect.
Oh, the older one beat Shaman too. Like,
really? Okay.
All right, let's talk about.
Yeah, I talked a lot to Dark Monix about this at Fight Night, and he agrees that Warrior crushes Shaman. Like, I don't know, we both are pretty adamant about that.
Have you talked to Savit/Artosis about it? Since the last time I talked to Savit about it, he was very convinced the Shaman deck crushed the Warrior deck.
No, but I don't know. I think the problem was that you Warriors, like, they had to learn the matchup on their own rather than like facing against me playing Warrior. And so like when I went to EU, like the Shamans just all got crushed. And so I don't really know. I don't understand where it comes from.
Master, exactly. So
I don't understand where it comes from.
What do you mull for in that matchup?
You want an axe, and if you have Armor Smith and Cruel Taskmaster, you keep it. That's like your strongest opening.
Okay, so small minions in the axe. The axe, obviously, but yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
Card draw. Just card draw.
Okay.
You just try and really, really wait before you brawl or Barongeddon, as long as possible.
Yeah.
And then your go help kills 7 things, so that's always nice.
Okay, good stuff, man. Definitely good stuff. Let's see. Is there any other decks besides Miracle it's weak against? I mean, everybody's gonna be playing this deck after watching this, I think. So.
Well, I don't think they're gonna play it, right? Because it's more of like a tournament deck right now because of Miracle Road's dominance. But
okay.
once the decks like aggro warrior, or not aggro warrior, excuse me, exactly, aggro warrior. Aggro warrior is actually pretty good against Miracle at the moment, I think. Like aggro warrior, aggro hunter, handlock, all those decks do pretty, and shaman all do pretty well against Miracle Road. So when those decks start dominating the metagame, then you bust out the warrior because warrior kills all those decks. And
gotcha.
Yeah. So just practice up on this and just wait.
Just wait. Exactly. Wait 2 weeks and then bust it out. Get the legend. There you go. All right. Any last thoughts, any last comments, Jeff, for Kitkatz on this deck?
Nope, it's a great deck.
Yeah.
You changed the metagame with it, and then the metagame started changing
And then the
against
metagame changed.
That's the biggest compliment, man. When the metagame changes because of your deck. That's good stuff, man. All right, well, why don't we take some questions now from the viewers, and we'll head on over to Reddit here. Whoops, let me change the topic real quick. Here we go. And all right, number 1. All right, we already talked about the warrior card already. And Kitkatz, why'd you leave clarity? I think we already did that. Kitkatz, or just to all of us, how do you see the scene of professional Hearthstone developing? By professional, meaning teams where members actually get paid monthly salary, sponsorship, money, etc. Kitkatz, Kitkatz, why don't I let you answer that one first, given that you've just joined a team, and I mean you're definitely in that joining team and shopping for teams, that type of. You've done it recently, so what
Yeah,
do
I
you?
mean that's really what the scene needed to evolve, right? Was just like players that could be paid a salary so they could stop working and just like really focus on becoming better and really developing the scene, and also like just streaming a lot more. Um, but when like all of your money doesn't come from like donations and crap like that,
Yeah,
because playing ads on Twitch doesn't really pay a lot unless you know like you're Trump or something. But so like that's like solid salary that's guaranteed, like comes every month from a legitimate organization like Curse or like whatever future tunes that I can't say come up,
yeah.
and like you can just actually become a professional player then, and that's just like really nice. Really happy.
Are you doing this full time right now?
Yes, I just finished my last semester of undergraduate, and I start graduate school in the fall.
Okay,
So like 3 more months of just like hardcore Hearthstone, at least.
good stuff. Trump, what do you think of the whole professional scene developing right now?
I mean, it's great. It's a testament to how deep this game is that the teams are developing such that the players can just spend more time on it. And it's for such a simple game, it is really, really, really deep. Uh,
Yeah,
let's see. It's great that the teams are developing. It means that the team managers have seen sponsors interested in this Hearthstone thing. They want to move in, and teams are striking while the iron is hot. This is good for pretty much everyone.
yeah. It comes down to it. Sponsors care a lot about views, and spreading their brand. And Hearthstone's generating a lot of views. So all the events that they've been doing recently has been anywhere from 20 to 40 concurrent, 20 to 40,000 concurrent, which is right on par with a lot of other esport games that we see right now, like StarCraft and other Call of Duty and those type of games too. So it's just growing, and there's good reason for it to grow. So I can't see it stopping anytime soon. All right, Pity Nade. I think Pity Nade is how you pronounce that. Any thoughts on Gara's Druid deck that was featured on King of the Hill recently? There were comments of how it was bad by some of the casters, but it clearly did well, trouncing everyone it faced. So I guess, right, who was it? Renad and Barry, I think it was, like casting it was calling it bad. What do you guys think of the Gara deck? Kitkatz. I'll let you answer
Okay.
first.
I think Dara is a great player, and I'm not really certain about the Ramp Druid deck at least, because I'm not really sure what all it's capable of beating. Like Ramp Druid is really actually good at like beating bad players and like weaker players.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like I don't know. I would like to see Gara play it more rather than like playing against people on the ladder because they're like obviously new to the deck and just picking it up and understanding it and learning it.
Yeah.
And so like it's easy to crush those people, but to see a master of the deck play it is like would be a lot cooler.
Yeah. Trump?
My stance on the deck is just I think it's very solid and has a nice like 50% win rate against most everything, and higher just because you're a better player. That's all.
Sounds like standard Druid decks throughout all of Hearthstone meta. It's always been really, really good against everything. But his record is ridiculous, though. Gar's record in the last month, I think, with that deck, or even 3 weeks with that deck, has been insane, like 90% or something like that, at least in competitive play. So really, really crazy. All right, next question. Furrier. Do you feel Blizzard is lagging behind the metagame? The nerf to UTH comes at a point where there's actually not that much hunters on the ladder, and pretty good counters have been figured out. Miracle Rogue with Farseers, as an example. So are they lagging? Trump?
Hmm.
You kind of made a little bit of comment about this earlier, but
I let's see. I'd need to look at their exact wording on it, but I don't think they mentioned the unfun element as much as it's as much of a it's overpowered comment. But even if they specifically mentioned the overpowered and didn't touch so much on the unfun element, I think to some elements unfun and
yeah.
getting like knocking it down notch is good. And plus, it was probably like they've got all the stats, so they probably have the stats or show like hunters are this percent played and they win this percent, and it was a bit out of line. So yeah.
Yeah, they talked a little bit about just the fact that Unleash the Hounds encourages not playing cards on the board. I think in the post that when they announced the nerf to it. So I think Unfun definitely plays a role in it, and even in their announcement there. Kitkatz, what do you think? Do you think they're lagging behind?
No, I really don't think they're lagging behind. Like I said earlier, I think they're nerfing cards too quickly and not letting the metagame actually adjust for it.
Yeah.
They should be waiting longer and seeing what we can actually accomplish on our own, rather than just changing things so drastically. And they've done it multiple times where the metagame was we already solved the problem, and then they just like nerf cards, and those classes died forever, like Mage and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But, I don't know. I think they should just take a little bit more time, and the metagame will fix itself, man.
Okay, Colds asks, what do you think of Tinkmaster and Nat Pagle nerf now that they have been in play for almost 2 months? Trump? Maybe talk about Arena some too. Maybe.
Okay, well, that Pagels, I've actually seen it every once in a while. It's still got its place. Like, suppose that Ramp Druid were like all the rage still, then Nat Pagel is probably good. And I think even against Control Warrior, Nat Pagel might be theoretically good. Tinkmaster is actually being tried out a bit, especially against Miracle Rogue. You just RNG the Gadgetzan Auctioneer sometimes,
Oh, wow.
or
Nice.
against a big control deck, or even just toss it into your aggro deck and you'll, on average, get a better thing. I think the Tinkmaster nerfs. Both cards were nerfed mainly because they were making games too RNG, so
Yeah.
I support that.
Tinkmaster answered a Gadgetzan. I didn't think about that. That's interesting. Okay. Kitkatz, what do you think? Is the nerf? Have you seen much of these two minions?
I haven't seen them since they've been nerfed. I guess like maybe in like the first week after, like people were trying Pega still, and I don't know. One guy, like I played the Lead Hoarder, and I had one creature in play, and the guy just like YOLO Tinkmaster and turned my Armor Smith into a 5/5 dragon and conceded. So I was pretty pleased by that.
Okay.
But yeah, those cards aren't really that great anymore.
All right. El Burrito asks, what's your opinion about Murloc decks? Are there any other classes that are good with Murloc except for Warlock? I don't know. I don't think I've seen any. I don't know. Has Murloc changed in any way for you guys, Trump?
Yeah, it's somewhat interesting. I don't think I've played against like one Murloc deck out of few hundred games. Seems to just be less good than Zoo. Gets killed by Whirlwind and Phantom Knives, and yeah.
Okay. Kitkatz, anything about Murloc decks?
Murloc sucks, man. It's good though, because that deck was like so annoying to play with. Like its explosive power.
Yeah.
It's just like it's crazy. It can kill you on like turn 4 and crap. OP.
Wait, what? I'm a little curious. Why did it die? Like it used to be really, really popular for a moment.
I think it's never been strong against Warrior. And, I don't know. I think people just like started building like the Rogue decks and stuff like that. I'm not really sure. I think Rogue like crushes Murloc pretty badly.
Oh, yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, I think that's probably true.
But watch your back, because sometimes when a deck disappears and you don't know the reason, you might see it back a few times.
That's true.
That's actually really true. And I should be thinking about things like that more.
Yeah. No, but Trump has a point, because for a while Murloc was making a comeback, and it was making a comeback more from the standpoint of a board control like Murloc. Some additions to it that were different than the crazy aggro version before. Yeah, it'll be a trip if we see Murlocs becoming crazy prevalent again in the meta. Morai asks, with the rise of the Miracle Rogue and Ladder, is Snipe a viable counter for hunters to kill the Auctioneer? It doesn't do well, I don't know. Actually, it might be, actually.
Yeah, actually, it's one of the newest changes of the aggro hunter decks. Have been adding like one Snipe, and then they just try and predict whenever the Auctioneer is going to be played, and just like YOLO it out there. Pray.
Yeah, interesting. Trump, have you seen that at all?
Oh yeah, I've seen Snipe play her a few times. Fortunately, I wasn't playing the Miracle Rogue, but Snipe's gonna get value. Like you can only hit Earthen Ring, Farseer, Azure Drake, or Kazakhstan, and they're all really good targets. I guess you can hit S or you can, yeah, SA7's even good, and you can hit the Van Cleef, which is probably the only bad target to hit.
Yeah. And it'll give you another durability on the bow because usually playing traps after the bow too, so it definitely adds value there too.
I mean, Snipe is while it's good against Miracle Rogue, it's quite terrible against a lot of decks.
Mm. Yeah, Zoo and just any kind of aggro decks with small minions, definitely.
Rages Gromosh, what a great card.
Oh god, that would suck. That would suck so bad. You'd have to have like at least two traps lined up freezing in this direction or something.
Oh right, and even with the Miracle Rogues, like sometimes they throw a Loot Hoarder into it and then you cry.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, I think the loot hoarders have been kind of decreasing. Like I know that at first they're running 2 and then they're running 1, and I'm not sure if they run any anymore. I have some lists do and some lists don't. And they've been favoring like the second Cold Blood or like the second Conceal and things like that. So it's like really interesting.
Blue 2 has a question about the new card. He says, how do you think the new warrior card Death's Bite will affect both aggro and control archetypes? Will 2 armor smiths, 2 acolytes be the standard upon release? Or would this be a detriment to control as it has little wiggle room right now? Kitkatz?
I'm sorry, what card?
The new card, the new warrior card. Basically, how do you think it will affect both the aggro and control archetypes? And he specifically asks, will 2 armor smith and 2 acolytes be standard upon release? Or would this be a detriment to control as it has little wiggle room?
Okay, no, I mean it's a great control card. Like it gives you so much power. Like after you establish it and just kill something, like you kill a flood heartbeat or whatever.
Yeah.
And the next turn you can actually just like load the board up with your little guys that actually proc off damage, armor smith or acolyte. And, like it gives you so much tempo. And then it kills like a chilling ready the next turn or whatever. It's like it does a lot. And I don't know, that's really good. It's a really good control card. I'm not really sure on how great of an aggro card it is. I guess if it's like aggro warrior,
Yeah.
like with like all charge minions, and then like they have to trade in your creatures, and then like you're just doing whirlwinds for free. But the whirlwind doesn't really serve a purpose. And it's like, why wouldn't you just play Arcanite for then?
Well, I mean, you could have a bunch of enraging units like
Oh, true. Yeah,
berserkers and stuff like that, right? So
oh
that,
my god, I see it now.
I know. Ray Massey deck, man.
Turn 5, hit him for 4. The next turn you like Worgen charge and then break the weapon.
Oh my god. Oh man, that's pretty cool actually. That could be really, really good for aggro warrior or combo warrior, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thoughts, Trump? Anything to add to, I guess, that question?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's like just the value of the card alone. A 4 mana, 4 damage weapon, that itself is pretty good. And the added benefit, like, you get a free whirlwind. It's really nice. You're going to see at least one of it in most decks, and I think that's pretty much what I can say about that right now.
Okay. So let's see. Scalarian, he asks, hey guys, I just love playing Control Warrior, but I feel when playing Kitkatz's deck versus other control decks, I sometimes miss a sort of late game win condition like Ysera. Have you updated your deck by any chance since it was posted last? I think we looked at the most frequent update. And have you made any changes that tend more towards the meta at the moment since it's moving away from hunters a bit? So obviously we talked a little bit about that, but what are your thoughts on just not having, I guess, the late game condition like a Ysera? Like we've seen in the past.
Never been good in Warrior. Like,
okay.
From the moment that I guess Murray added it to his like late game legend warrior, I don't even know what to call it. Like he just plays like the legendary from turn 5 to turn 10, and does something. But like even in that deck, like it wasn't good. Ysera wasn't good, and since then the metagame's like always sped up, and it's even worse now. It's like never a good card to play, unless it's like on a completely empty board where you already have board control and health and you don't need to armor. It's like it's only good when you're already winning, and you don't need a card like that. In the Warrior vs. Warrior mirror, Ysera is not good at all. Like I know people always like I add it because I just like having more threats, but what ends up happening when I play Warrior is that I just end up racing, and I put a lot of pressure. I mulligan for creatures like the Korkrons and the Cruel Taskmasters and the Armor Smiths and the Acolytes, and I just go aggressive on them. And what ends up happening is that by the time they get to like turn 9 and stuff, to where they can actually like establish a Ysera on the board. Like they're so low that if they do not armor, I'm gonna kill them with Grommash
Yeah.
and Rage and the weapon, And so what it's like when are you gonna play this card in that matchup in a control matchup? And even versus like Druid, against Druid it's fine, but against mid range Druid it's terrible. And you already beat Ram Druid, so you don't need it. And yeah,
Okay.
it's just not overall not a very good card.
Yeah. Definitely good points. Trump, anything to add?
It's a pretty good cover of it. I think Ysera's good only if you're playing against slow decks.
Okay. Why don't we take a couple more here, and then we can call it a day. Let's find a fun question here. Let's see. All right. Actually, Wadamote asks, how do you counter BM? Please. What's the best way to counter BM on the ladder? Kitkatz. Well, actually, first off, do you actually add people who add you on a friends list right after a game? Does that happen commonly so you can hear what they're gonna say to you?
I mean, if I get like a sick top deck or something, I'll throw them the ad, man. They can rage a little bit. Like you're terrible, and I disagree with them. Like, yeah, I know. Like I have a lot to work on. But I mean, like it never bothers me when people say I'm bad because like all of us always make mistakes. Like even the Kalento or Seeds, like everyone is the game's too new and no one plays perfectly.
Right. Okay, so countering BM, like what do you do when somebody
Right, well,
waits to the end of the rope and everything and crap like that?
I don't know if you guys have seen the most recent Fight Night with me versus Forsen, but there is a game where he plays Rogue and gives the sickest BM ever, dude. It's like he plays 8 cards from his hand or something when he had lethal. Like he plays Leroy and Shadow steps it back to his hand, not even attacking. It was awesome. And at the end of the game, like I just clapped for him because like to me that's hilarious, man. Like I think BM is funny. Like if you look to StarCraft and you see like Firebat Hero and like his awesome ceremonies where he's like running around like Busan with the inner tube and stuff. Like, it's all meant to be fun. Like none of the players really hate each other. We're all friends. It's just like we're just kind of teasing to put on a good show.
Yeah.
But I mean, just take it lightly. It's like who cares?
So clap. I guess you're just clap and
just clap for him, man.
Trump,
be happy that they're happy.
Trump, you got any anti-BM methods up your sleeve?
The best anti-BM method is don't get bothered by it.
There you go.
I mean, they've decided to waste 30 seconds of your life. You can choose if you think they have it and they're just like slow rolling it. You can choose to concede or whatever.
Okay. Yeah, that's probably the best bit of advice right there. All right, one last question. Okay, there's a question about handlock. So Neo's Hero asks, I enjoy playing handlock, but it feels rather rough right now. Do you guys have any tips? I guess any tips for maybe changing the deck or modifications you can think of? Trump, I'll let you take. Okay. Kitkatz.
I don't know how I'm not going to compete on that. Go ahead, Trump.
Any suggestions on maybe? Well, actually, what do you think of handlock right now? And then maybe any suggestions to improving it?
Yeah, if it's good against Miracle Rogue, then it's probably a deck that you should consider playing right now. I don't have much experience about it.
Okay, Kitkatz?
I think if you're having trouble with handlock, maybe just follow the old advice of mulligan everything for Drake and Mountain Giant. Success rate drastically rises if you turn for one of those bad boys.
So do you think the state of handlock is good right now?
I think it's great. Like Miracle Rogue's such the dominant deck, and handlock does extremely well against it. Like you put so much pressure on them with a Drake or a Mountain Giant on turn 4 that it's almost impossible for Miracle Rogue to come back unless they have like a whole bunch of creatures and then they just start racing you, and then you don't have taunts or something like that, and or heal. So I think it's like a really good place for it.
So I've been hearing about people trying, different minions, kind of throwing them in the traditional handlock. Things like maybe even Karen and stuff like that. Have you heard of anything or thought of anything that might be kind of cool in that regard? Kind of like what you did with Azure Drake and Korokon with Warrior.
Yeah, that was one of the coolest things that happened back when Warrior was the absolute most dominant class, was that Hamlock started playing Cairn and like Ragnaros. And so they just have
Yeah.
like way more threats than you could actually kill, sufficiently.
Right.
But then I don't think they had enough experience with the cards to make them useful. But I think like a great Hamlock player like Savits or Tides of Time, one of those players would just like, if they were playing those cards, like they would probably crush my Warrior deck. But there's a place for that, but it's not in an environment with Rogue being so crazy.
Okay. Well, maybe we'll start seeing a lot more Handlock. I've already seen some Handlock the last 2 days, I have to say, more so than last season and early this season too. So it'll be pretty cool to see. But why don't we wrap the show? It's great having you on, Kitkatz. Man, some serious Warrior knowledge bombs. That's exactly why I wanted to have you on today. But,
Thanks for having me.
yeah, you want to do some shout outs? Thank yous?
Oh yeah, to our sponsors, Alienware, Cooler Master, and Energems, and of course my teammates, Alchemist, Savits, and Dark Wanix. I love you all, and thank you for having me. And it was wonderful speaking with you, Trump.
Awesome. Trump, you got any shout outs you want to do?
Let's see. Oh, I can't really think of many this week. I'll be streaming right after. Be sure to check me out.
All right. Good stuff. Good stuff. For me, just a big shout out to you guys for coming on the show. Trump obviously doing this with me each and every week. And the VODs, guys, will be up on youtube.com/ChanManV probably in about 20 minutes or so. I know a lot of people are watching All Stars. One of the questions also was when it'd be up. So expect it in about 20 minutes there. I'll post it. I'll tweet it, all that good stuff. Follow us all on Twitter at ChanManV, at TrumpSC, and at CRS. I curse, right? CRS Kitkatz. A good place to find out just about just everything we're doing. And one announcement too. So Deck Wars, the show match series I do every Friday. Won't have one this week, but we're gonna actually have the finals next weekend, Saturday and Sunday. We're gonna have all the winners of the first 12 Deck Wars kind of battling it out for a nice prize in a tournament setting. So Kungen, Monk, Forsen, Admirable, Chalky, Alchemist, lots of folks. So definitely check that out, and I'll fill you guys in more with details on whether it's Reddit or Twitter and all that good stuff. But that's going to be it, guys, for Value Town this week. So we will see you next week. Later.